What would you be willing to give up to be accepted in society, to be accepted by your peers, to be accepted by your family, your friends, and your church? Sadly, there was a time in my life when I gave up my very identity to be accepted by those people in those places. Hi, I'm Shannon, and this is part 77 of Was I in a Cult? So I'm at the part of my story where I had went to the church from 94 to 96, left in 96, came back in 98, and I was then just trying to put myself completely into this life all over again after having gone away from it for a period of time. So basically I just submerged myself in the ministry and got involved with leadership and just started attending all the church services and as many events that I could possibly go to, just to, I guess, be completely plugged in, if that makes sense. So if you're not familiar with being plugged in, it was like this immersive experience where you just plugged yourself into the ministry and basically went to church, and all you did was, go to almost every event and every function and every church service. And on top of that, you try to just be super, super accountable to your leadership. And that was where I was at. And I actually entered into conversion therapy at the time, where I was trying to convert my lesbianism into heterosexualism. I chuckle because it sounds absolutely ridiculous to me right now. So around that time, I was about 23 years old, and I was looking at my life, and I just remember not really having a career or anything like that, because in our church we weren't really encouraged so much to seek a great career, especially if that career would be anything that would take us away from church or our responsibilities and duties of being in church basically 24/7. We were basically encouraged to just read our Bible more and pray more and come to more events and be at every service, and not just be at the service but be there for like an hour earlier so we could pray before the service and do whatever we could to evangelize as much as we could and bring many more people and recruit. And it was just like an ongoing thing where basically most people ended up in a situation where they were just burned out all the time from all of this ministry. And at that point, how do you even have time to like go to college or get, a great career going for your life? And I just remember a lot of them just encouraging us as young people. Like, I was still involved in the youth ministry, and we were basically encouraged to just join this new program that they had going on for, like, it was basically like the women's homes but for young people. So there were like these training centers that you could go to where you could be even fully more indoctrinated 24/7 by living in this type of environment rather than just like having a place to go home. You would live at the church training center, and then you would do, your life would just revolve around that, and that would be your schooling and your education, and it was thousands of dollars to attend. The young people in our church were being encouraged to do that rather than to go to college. And if we were encouraged to go to college, it was more of an encouragement to go to Bible school or Bible college or some kind of seminary, which was really only kind of encouraged if you were like already with your man of God as a female. Then you could like attend this Bible school as well. I mean, obviously everyone was able to attend, but it was kind of like not pushed for women to attend on their own. It was more like if they were going to be in ministry with their husband, then they should definitely be attending this Bible school. Um, there were some single women, but I'm gonna say that at one point in time when I was in my my bachelor's program, I remember being the only female that was there that was not a pastor's wife, and there was only one other female that was there in that program, and she was there with her husband who was a pastor. So there was always this thing where they really didn't like encourage women ministers, or like to become like licensed ministers, which is what I kind of desired to be at one point of time. But anyways, at that point, I didn't enter into the training center, nor did I enter into the Bible school in 1998. I decided to go to a community college. I was warned that it might take me away from, ministry and my calling in the ministry, because I was going to be putting forth my efforts outside of the church. But I was like, well, I want to work on my career, and my education is important. So I basically kind of just did my own thing when it came to that. Like, I didn't really get a lot of encouragement to do that, but I was like, I'm just going to do that. In the youth ministry, we were often warned about, going to regular college, and about all the temptations and all the struggles that we might have, because we would be, dealing with people of the world, and, they would always be giving us scriptures that we are in the world but not of the world, and talking about being unequally yoked, and how we shouldn't, make friendships really outside of the church, and definitely shouldn't be like hanging out with people that are not a part of our ministry. So that made the college experience kind of lonely for me, because I felt like I had to be set apart and, separated from anyone that was in the world or of the world. And for me personally, I am an artist at heart, and so I was in the art department, and I was doing a lot of stuff with graphic design, and I was just warned that that could be sort of a conflict of interest, because art is expressive, and in the church we're not really allowed to express ourselves in certain ways that are not appropriate for the church. So I had to be careful. One other thing I remember that was happening at that time is that there was a lot of political advice being given behind the pulpit about who we should vote for, and they were really pushing that we should vote for Bush because of how, he had partnered with our church, and like I remember our pastor and founder like went to go see him, and they took pictures together, and everyone's like, we have to vote for Bush, and if you're a Christian, you need to vote for Bush. And I just remember feeling like it wasn't cool that they were trying to pressure everyone in our congregation to vote a certain way. And it was like, no, this has nothing to do with, religion, and this has nothing to do with, like, Jesus. So why are we even pushing this in our church? Like, it shouldn't be a thing. Like, you shouldn't be trying to persuade people to vote a certain way in church. I also remember a lot of controversy about a movie called Saved, where they were talking about how they thought it was such an abomination, and it was because someone was gay, and they were Christian or something like that, and how like the message that was being portrayed was against God. And then there was the movie But I'm a Cheerleader, which was also a big, huge controversy because it was about conversion therapy. My church was very conservative, and so they always enforced their opinions upon our congregation. Church in the 90s was crazy.